Hey everyone, welcome back to Dark Forest for the next episode in our Let's Play series. So at the end of the last episode we cleared a few more trees from our land to fill up the one container. I've filled both of them now, so these are both full to 33,000 litres. So we'll get those sold at some point today. So I'll continue clearing a few more trees from this area. And just to open up a little bit more, we've got a couple of logs there I couldn't fit in the container. I've just realised I left the tree harvester running. Better turn that off before we burn through the fuel. So yeah, we've opened up a little bit more space around here. But we're going to move on from working in this area for a little bit, as we've got a few other jobs I want to try and do and get done. I've marked out an area of land because we own this side of the road all the way to the edge of the map. So going that way down to the bottom edge of the map, I've marked out an area somewhere around here. So this line here. So this will be the first corner. So I've marked this out. It's a fairly big square going up to this corner where we can start fitting some trailer homes for workers. So we'll need to get the trees cleared from there, and then we can get our first home in, and then potentially get our first production today as well. But that's a job we'll do a little bit later, because the main job I want to start with is to get the soybeans planted in the second field. Just double check, pretty sure we are in the right month for soybeans. Yeah, we can do the soybeans this month. So first we're going to need to get a cultivator to cultivate in the oilseed radish, which is not strictly necessary because this is a direct drill. So we could actually just use this and plant the soybeans in. I don't think that would be a particularly good idea with the leafy crop on the oilseed radish. I don't think that would do the drill much good, and I'm pretty sure it wouldn't be very effective at planting seed doing it that way. I may be completely wrong on that, but to me it just doesn't seem like a particularly good idea. The other option is we could actually plough it, because we're not using precision farming. There's no negative impact on ploughing other than we'd get a lot more stones come through on the field, which we then have to remove, which I don't really want to have to do. So I'm going to go and get a disc harrow from the store, and then we'll go over that to work the oilseed radish in, and then get the soybeans planted. Right, so we're down at the store to get the disc harrow. The one I'm going to go for is the one that was in the used equipment sale earlier on last year. Unfortunately at the time it was still a little bit too pricey for us. So we're going to end up having to pay full price, because I'm pretty sure there's not one in here. Yeah, nothing in there that's useful to us at the moment. So we'll go in here and then we'll go disc harrows. And the one I'm going to go for is the Great Plains by JCL's Farm Equipment. So it's another one I got from itch.io and the modders itch.io page. So I'm going to buy that for $28,625. A little bit more than I'd like to pay, but it's a decent work with 5.4 meters and only requires 130 horsepower, so it's not too bad. We should be able to pull that fairly easy. I'll get that back to the farm. One thing I also need to do before we start the disc harrowing is repair this tractor, because it is down to probably about 50% on the maintenance bar, which is going to affect how well it's going to pull this disc harrow. So we'll get back, we'll get this repaired, and then we can get on with the working in the oilseed radish for our first round of fertilizer on that field. Okay, so before we do the cultivating or disc harrowing, as I said, we'll just get this repaired. Okay, why is my toolbox not working? Yeah, because it's the wrong way around. Does it need to be pointing the tractor? There we go. Right, so we'll get that repaired. So it's 1,647 it's going to cost us to repair that. But that should make a little bit of a difference, because we'll be able to pull at full power. I'm sure when you get down to around about 50% it does start affecting performance a little bit. Just drop that back there, and then we can get on with the disc harrowing. Okay, so let's get the oilseed radish worked in. So this shouldn't take too long, especially with a 5.4 meter disc harrow. And there we go, that's being worked in. Let's just double check those actually giving us the layer of fertilizer, or are we completely wasting our time? So yeah, there's our first layer, so you can just see it going blue. So we'll get the second layer of fertilizer with the seed drill, and then that'll be this field completely fertilized, so there'll be no further fertilizing to be done. We will need to spray this one with herbicide though. I'll just check that, because the oilseed radish doesn't get any weeds growing, and you can see there's no weeds on there, but I'm pretty sure actually it's not showing any weeds growing at all, so maybe we won't get any weeds come through then. So maybe that's an additional benefit of sowing oilseed radish as a cover crop, is it prevents any weeds growing. So that might be a bit of a handy bonus as well, as we get that layer of fertilizer, and we'll also save on having to use any herbicide to spray the field. We'll see once we've actually sown the crop, because although it's not showing any weeds growing now, when we've sown the crop it may show that there's weeds growing in the field, so we may still need to do the herbicide, but I say until we actually get the crop in, we won't know for definite. So we'll get this done, and then we can get the soybeans sown, and then we'll check whether we need to spray it with herbicide. I've now installed the mod that not all crops require rolling, so soybeans may be one of the crops that we don't need to roll, so that may save us a job as well on doing that. Okay, last pass on the oilseed radish, and that's this field ready for sowing with soybeans. So I'm really interested to see actually if the weeds do show as growing once we've drilled the soybeans, or whether doing it this way has prevented them from coming up at all. I think I never did oilseed radish once on No Man's Land, and I can't remember. No, I think I actually put oilseed radish in the field after potatoes that then needed ploughing anyway. So I think they was ploughed in, so that would have prevented weeds coming through. So yeah, it's going to be interesting to see. So I'm going to switch over to the seed drill. We'll get the soybeans planted. Right, so the seed's full on this, but not the fertiliser, which I probably should have filled before I brought it over here, but we'll see if there's enough in there. If not, we may have to refill. So we'll just go forward a little bit. I'm just going to double check to see. Yeah, see, it's showing weeds growing. So we'll need to go over it with the herbicide, and it also shows that it needs rolling as well. So we're still going to have to roll it. I can't remember if soybeans was a crop that required rolling or not, but it obviously is. So we'll get these planted, then we'll go over it with the rollers and then the herbicide to prevent any weeds coming through. Okay, so the soybeans are almost done. We had plenty of fertiliser in there. They didn't take a huge amount at all. That's another crop in the ground for this year's harvest. Got that one tiny little bit patch there where the enhanced vehicle control board got knocked off when I was trying to adjust the speed on the cruise control. So we'll just get that filled in, and that's this field all done, apart from the rolling and the herbicide, which we'll get done next. Okay, so the rolling's all been done. So last job for this field will be to spray the herbicide to prevent the weeds coming through. As you can see, where it's required, it's just going lighter colour on the texture. So we know it's actually working. So one thing I'm not sure about as well is because we mulched this field before we put the... And we've still got the 100% yield bonus, so the mulching did still take effect. I wasn't sure if the mulching would get removed once we planted the oilseed radish and then worked that in, but it's still showing that we've got the mulching bonus. So yeah, we'll get 100% yield on this field. Well, technically we should get a little bit more because I've got the crop rotation mod. So it's showing crop rotation perfect, 115%. So that means we should technically get 115% yield bonus. So 15% more than we normally would, which is a really nice bonus to have. So definitely worth the extra work and doing the crop rotation as well. Right, last pass for the herbicide. As I say, this field is all done then until harvest time, which won't be until about October, November for soybeans. I think October, as we've planted them in the first month we can. So there we go. Soybeans all sprayed, rolled, and another job done, and all our field work done for today. So we'll get this dropped back off in the shed, and then next job I want to move on to clearing those trees in the area I marked where we're going to start building some housing for workers. I'd just like to say a big thank you as well to everyone that commented on that in the previous video. I really appreciate that. I did go through the comments earlier today, and there was quite a lot of people for the housing for workers idea, so we'll go with that. As you know, it'd be nice to do. I'll just check on the chickens as well. Pretty sure I topped them up before. Yeah. We don't have much left in here. 4,184, so that may just about last us until the barley's ready to harvest, which I think will be June. So we've got the rest of April, and then May, and then June, when we can harvest that. So we should just about have enough sorghum. I think there's a tiny little bit of sorghum left in the silo. Yeah, only 715 litres, but it's a little bit extra as well. And we'll get this put back, so then we'll go and jump in the tree harvester and start clearing the trees. Actually, first, before we do that, we'll need to take the 2 containers down to the sell everything container and get those sold. Oh, like that seems to accelerate rather fast then. Flying off. Yeah, we'll get the 2 containers sold, and we'll get 2 new ones so we can put the logs that we get from clearing that area straight into the containers. That should give us a bit more money as well towards the trailers, and also the first production building I want to try and get in today as well. Okay, so let's get these 2 sold. So that's $27,378 for the first one, and $27,205 for the second one. So pretty close this time. I mean, last time there was a good 3,000 difference between the two. So I'll buy 2 more 9-foot containers. 9 foot, that'd be small. That'd be very small containers if there's only 9 foot. I mean 30 foot 9 meter containers, and we'll get that back over to the area we're going to clear for the housing. Okay, so we've got the 2 new containers. We'll park these up over here. May actually be better if we're the other way around, but shouldn't be too bad. I mean, we start this end and then we can work our way back. We'll get that switched off. Parked up there. Get this one opened. I'm just going to concentrate on the trees that are on the actual line I've marked out and with inside. So this one here, which is outside, I'm going to probably leave that one at the moment. I may remove it, we'll see. Depends how it looks when it's left on its own. And then we can always expand on this area in the future as we need to add more homes to it. As I said, I like the idea of doing it for production buildings as well as workers we can actually hire on the farm to do field work. And the horse helper as well for training the horses and looking after the horses. So I'm just going to do the same as I've been doing, cut them to 9 meters just in front of the container, then lift them up and drop them in. I did have a comment saying why I don't just cut them straight into the container, and if you've watched the Silver and Forest where I tried that with the Volvo, you'll know why, because it literally just takes the entire tree if you've not tried it yourself yet, and it will just reduce the price you get because you'll get the warning keep going up because it's the incorrect length. Say 9 meters, we'll just drop them in front and I'll pick them up and put them in the container. Okay, so this tree should finish filling the second container. There's still a few more trees to clear as well, so I'll probably get these sold, buy 2 more containers and then come back and finish clearing the last few trees in this square that are marked out. It won't be enough to fill the next 2 containers. Actually, I need to actually finish filling that one first. But it'll probably partially fill one of them, or probably 3/4 full. So I think that one is now full. Yep, 33,000 litres in there. We'll get that one closed. So yeah, we'll go and get these sold. So then we'll buy 2 more. I'll finish then clearing the last of the trees in the area. So there's this one here, just inside. We've got this one. That one, that's 3, 4, 5. Yeah, so I think it's just those last 5 trees, and then this little square will all be clear, and we can get at least 1 trailer home built today, and then we'll be able to get the first production building built, which is a sawmill, which we'll build over by the current sawmill. So I'm going to leave the sawmill that's already on the map as a sell point, just to use in the future if we need to just sell logs rather than using the containers. I found with these trailers as well, they really don't like it if you turn it a little bit too tight. So I'm going to leave that production as a sell point, and get a different production building sawmill instead, which is a little bit cheaper, and it also does the extra productions from the platinum expansion, which I've got enabled on here. So I'll be able to do prefab walls, long planks, short planks, and the wood beams as well. Okay, so let's see how much we make for these two. That's 27,488 for the first one and 27,512 for the second. So we're now up to 180,834 from that. So we're doing quite well at the moment. And the trailer homes and the production building aren't going to cost too much money, so we'll have quite a bit left over. I'll possibly be able to do a little bit more decorating, put some fencing in around the place and do some terrain painting as well, as we've got quite a bit of money. So I'll get the next two containers and then we'll get the rest of the trees cleared. Okay, so this is the last tree we need to clear from this area. As you can see, we've probably about 2/3 full on this container, on the first one anyway. We won't get to fill both of them, but I can leave those until next time when we return back to clearing over the other side of the road for the farm area. I'll get this top dropped off. I'm probably going to load up all the shorter pieces onto the other trailer with the log poles on, and then we can use those for the production sawmill, so we can get some wood into that and get some production underway today. Because I'm not sure exactly how much it takes or what the production cycles are. I'm not expecting it to be a huge amount, because I said earlier in the series I want to try and avoid mods that are a little bit too OP and will make things far too easy. So there's some really nice mods out there, production mods, but their production rates are just way too fast. For my liking, it just would make making money far too easy. So I want to try and avoid those kind of mods and just stick with ones that are a little bit more balanced to the actual game itself. So we'll get the truck moved out of the way. I'll probably park this up back over the other side where we was clearing before, as that's where we'll continue clearing this area, ready to get the horse stables built at some point, and possibly a few more sheds as well for storing equipment. There's a couple of 9-meter logs there as well that can go in. Let's check our oats now. Our oats are into the first growth stage. So 96-97% yield bonus on this, because obviously we didn't mulch, because there was no mulch crop to mulch. But we've got crop rotation bonus of 115% on there. But it is a bit patchy with the fertiliser. As I mentioned last time, I'm not going to bother wasting fertiliser trying to fill that out. So yeah, next job will be to get a couple of houses built, or at least one for now, because we only need one at the moment for the production building. So I will just put one in to start with. As you can see, a little bit better now where I've actually marked out this area. We'll need to get rid of those stumps as well. But what I'll try and do is kind of get this somewhere in the middle, and then put a kind of like a pathway that goes up the middle, and then we can have trailers either side going up. So we should probably be about 6 in total in this small area. But we can continue clearing the trees out and go a little bit further back if we want, because the edge of the map's quite far back. But I don't want to come too close to the edge of the map. I'd rather leave a barrier of trees across the back just to hide the map edge a little bit. So if we go landscaping and painting, I'm just going to use we'll use the gravel texture for this one. I think that size should do, and I want to try and roughly find somewhere in the middle. And what I'll do as well is, as I mentioned before, set the degrees of rotation on the minimap to 180. I can do a nice straight line. And then I'll say somewhere as close to the middle as I can get it. And we'll just paint a path up going in the middle. So we kind of know where the middle of the place will be. I'm just going to change that to the round tool, lower it down and just more of a lead in there. Did that go off slightly, or is it just the grass? We just try that. We set that back to 180 again. I'll delete the grass that's just over the gravel texture a little bit. That just opens that out and tidies it up a little bit more as well. So the first one we'll put in, as I say, I'm just going to probably do the one for now. And I've got the trailer farm buildings pack by Omatana. So it's just a standard trailer with a push bike on the front and a bit of decoration. So we'll bring that over this way a little bit, close to where we've marked it. Now leave a bit of space in between as well, so we can put a little parking area for a car or vehicle. And we'll get the first one in. So landscaping, painting, and we'll just put a little bit more gravel in front of this one. Just coming off that track. Probably bring it out just a tad wider. To there. Then I'll go circle tool again and just kind of round that edge off a little bit. And then we'll go painting plants. I'll get rid of those bushes there just to tidy up that a little bit. That doesn't look too bad. And what I'm going to do as well is I think I'll put a fence around the entire area, which we can then just delete the back bit. So if we go decoration and try and find a fence that looks reasonable, maybe the white picket fence will do. Yeah, I don't think there's anything. I think that one looks a bit too... Will that one work? Kind of like a bit of a rickety one. I don't know if that one's a little bit too nice. And no, I think the white one will look better. So I'll press C on the keyboard to get the snap mode. Which, if you aren't aware of, that was added in one of the game updates. If you now press C on your keyboard, you can snap fences to a kind of degree of rotation. Where if I disable C now, it's completely free. But if I press C, you can just see it slightly jumps over. It's a nice way to keep it nice and straight. I'll probably follow where I've marked it out on the... Yeah, we'll go on the outer side. So this is where it gets expensive putting fences in. I'm going to say 6,500 for each run is pretty pricey. Especially on something as well which is purely decorative. Not going to make us any extra money. So we'll bring that to around about there. Check that's actually straight. I think that's... Just need to tidy up that bit of landscaping. Narrow that track down a little bit. And then we'll get some more grass in there. And then what I'll do is, now we've got the area marked out with the fence, I can just repaint in this bit with the grass texture. And then we'll just quickly repaint over it. So I don't think we need to do the grass texture. I think it's already that forest ground underneath anyway. Maybe if we just paint straight over the top of the meadow grass. Which again is extremely expensive. And I think we was on about 170. We've only built one trailer home. And we're down to below 140,000. See, it's quite how expensive doing this is when you're not using the free landscaping tool. Again, what we'll do in the future as well, I'll come back in as we've earning more money and neaten things up, tidy things up, probably add a few more details to it. But there's the first home for a worker. So we'll just add this. We should be able to fit 6 in. So if we go 3 either side of this central track. So one last thing I want to add in as well is under others. If I can find them. There we go. I'll put a mailbox in for them. Which are colour changeable as well, so we can change the colours as we go. So there's the first home for at least one worker. Or should say a worker. So that one will be used for the worker at the production building, which we'll go and build now. As I said, I want to build that one next to the sawmill down here because I think it'll fit in. And then this area can come kind of like a sawmill production area. Again, this will be one of those things as we progress and we're earning a bit more money. I'll add a few more details into the area and paint all the terrain, probably put some fencing round. So if we go productions and then factories, and the one I'm going to use is the one that was added recently to the 1.3 update for the platinum expansion, which I believe is around about 56,000. Yeah, there we go. So the Wood Miser LT15 sawmill. So this is now a placeable sawmill that was included in the update for the platinum expansion. So if you're on Silver Run Forest, you can now build additional sawmill that produces the goods from the platinum expansion for the relevant production buildings. I don't want to come back. I think I want to try and keep it in line with that sawmill as best as we can. And bring it over a little bit this way. So if we press V to disable, I think there should do. That's 56,000 for that. Annoyingly, I'm going to have to get rid of all these annoying things that don't disappear when you build on them. So we'll go plants. The only way I know to get rid of them is putting some bushes down or meadow grass. Which probably better off. Yeah, I think that is the cheapest option. Which is still not cheap. Yeah, I don't know why these ones don't get removed when you plough over them, or you paint over the ground or build something on them. It's rather annoying that they stay there because it does cost quite a bit then to get rid of them. I'm not 100% sure exactly where we need to come to. Fortunately as well, I've got the mod in that we can sell placeable buildings straight away for the exact amount we paid for them, which is a super handy mod. And if you're on PC, I'd definitely recommend it. So you're not losing out any money. If you put a building down that's slightly in the wrong place, at least you can just sell it back straight away, get the exact amount back for it. It doesn't refund landscaping costs though. So if you do put a building down on a slightly uneven terrain and it charges you extra for adjusting the terrain, when you sell it, you'll only get back what the building's worth. So disable collisions again, try and get that, say, somewhere in line with that building, and round about there will do. Just check there's no weeds growing through. Oh, it looks like we're okay this time. So there we go, there's our first production building. It's a relatively small one. I say I'm not sure what the production cycles are on it. So we can do standard planks, which is 24 cycles, so 1 per hour as we do 1 day months. And it does 208 wood into 280 short planks and then 60 litres of wood chips. So that's not too bad. That still seems quite good actually. And then we've got the wood planks long, or the long planks. So 208 wood for 188 long planks and 60 wood chips, the same, 24 cycles per month. Wood beams, 208 wood in 125 wood beams, 75 wood chips, 24 cycles, and prefab walls, 24 cycles, 208 wood for 75 prefab wall. No wood chips on that one. So that doesn't seem too bad. Don't know if there's much of an impact if you have multiple ones enabled, like some of the production mods, where you get kind of a production penalty if you have multiple ones running at the same time on one building. But there is our first production building. So we'll go and get some wood over to this. I'll probably load up, as I said, the other trailer. I'll put the log poles back on that. No, I think they're still on there. I just need to fold them up. I'll get these short bits of logs loaded up onto there, and then we can get that brought over and get some wood into the production building so we can start some production. Okay, so I've got some of the shorter offcuts all loaded up. I'm not sure how much wood will be in these, but it'll be enough to get us started on the first production building. I believe the trigger's inside this little bit, which may make it a little bit more difficult to get a bigger trailer in there. Somewhere around here is the trigger. I might have to put the interactive zone markers on just to remind myself exactly where it is. That's just here. So yeah, you can see this trigger box is just inside this building. So that's 6,206 litres of wood with a total capacity of 75,000 litres total. Wood chips is here. So I presume you just drive up here with a trailer that takes wood chips and you can just fill that. So we'll get the production underway. I don't know if it really matters which one we do. I don't know if setting all of them is going to be worthwhile doing. Obviously prefab walls are going to be a lot slower to fill up because they are quite big. So I'm going to try prefab walls because I'm not too fussed about getting hundreds and hundreds of pallets. But it would be nice to get some production. So we'll just set prefab walls to start with and see how that goes. And then once we get a bit more wood in here, we can try do multiple productions and see if that does have an impact on the production rate. But there is our first production up and running. Let's get the interactive zone markers turned back off again. That poor man's got to somehow, using this small amount of equipment, got to produce some prefab walls. So a bit similar to the old sawmill, there's 4 different spawn areas in here for all the different products. So they've each got their own different spawn area, unlike the standard productions where if you have multiple things, they all spawn in the same place. So yeah, we'll leave that running. So quite basic looking building. So once we've got a bit more built around here, get some proper road put in, maybe a bit more decorating objects, make it look a bit more like a working sawmill. It won't look so bad, but at the moment that's something I don't want to waste too much money on for now, because obviously there's still other things we need to buy. As for this video though, I think we'll leave it there for today. So we've made quite a lot more progress. We've got the soybeans planted, rolled, and the herbicide sprayed on there, so they're all good to go. And we've got the first house built for our new workers, or our new worker. So we'll add to that as and when we need to. So the next one will probably be when we do the horse stables and we get the horse helper. Which is going to go over this area somewhere, so we're going to have to clear all those trees, but we can probably do that next time. I may get some more of these cleared and get this container, finish filling this one and get the other one filled ready for next time, so we can get those sold straight away. As for next time, I don't know. Yeah, I may skip through May because there's not a huge amount we can do now until June. when our barley should be ready to harvest. And then we can get the barley harvested as well. So yeah, we may come back in June. And we'll just have to see how it goes. So I say we'll leave this one here. Hope you have enjoyed this episode. If you have, then please don't forget to give it a thumbs up. Really do appreciate that. And if you do have any questions, comments, then please do leave them down below. I'll try my best to answer any questions and reply to any comments. And if you're not yet subscribed to this channel, then please do consider subscribing. We've got more Farm Simulator 22 content coming up with this series and also the live streams as well. So again, a big thank you for watching, and I'll see you all in the next one. Thank you again. Goodbye.